This is the Hypervolt Plus massage gun. I love this product. So this is the Plus edition, which is their newer model, which is a much more powerful version compared to their original Hypervolt that came out. A lot of people compare this to the Theragun that's out there, and the biggest contrasting point is that the Theragun is more powerful. Now that the Hypervolt Plus is much more powerful, I haven't compared it directly to the Theragun, but what I can say is this is much more powerful than anything I've ever needed. It's super strong that way. If it's great for getting any sort of knots out. The way I compare it is it's sort of like a much better, deeper, aggressive way of foam rolling in a way. If you've been training all day, a lot of people don't want to get on the foam roller at the end of the day because it's almost like giving yourself a core routine, having to roll all your body weight up and down on the foam roller. That's great if you haven't been doing anything, but if you've been training all day and you come back, you're exhausted, it's kind of the last thing you want to do. This is awesome because you can lay on the couch and just kind of find all kinds of different knots in your legs or wherever it is that you might need it. The power button is on the bottom here, and then you have 3 different speeds to turn it on. It's also much quieter than most other massage guns out there. So you have speed 1 like this, and they're measured with the blue lights on the back here. This is your batteries on the bottom, and if you just missed it, there's 3 white lights there. They calibrate the pressure sensor in it as well. So this is speed 1. You have speed 2. It gets a little bit louder. Speed 3. And this is the most aggressive and loudest. This is quite excessive, I find, in most cases. It's quiet that way, which is nice. You have 3 different heads. You have this pointy, super aggressive head this way. You have almost like this hammer head, this flat head, which is probably the most used one and the one that people use the most. You have a more spongy one, which is like a rubber gasket there. It's very light if you have some really sore muscles and you can't quite handle a lot of deep tissue work at that point. You have a ball attachment here. I actually haven't found this one to be super useful because I find there's too much friction with it. It's almost like felt on the outside of it, and it grips your skin a little bit too much and you can't move it around as much. So I don't find that one super useful. And then you also have a fork attachment here, which is really good for big muscles, your glutes, your quads, your hamstrings, where you want to grab a little bit more, but you want it to still be super aggressive. As I was mentioning before, so you have your 3 speeds there, and then you also have a pressure sensor right here. So as I push against it, you can see those lights light up. And what that's great for is it allows you to remember if you're keeping even pressure across the muscle, so you can watch that gauge and see how much pressure you're applying that way. It's super useful when you're using the tool. I think this is incredible. I love using, personally, the Normatex and this tool. Whereas the Normatex squeeze your legs to get a lot of the lactic acid out or excess fluid out of your legs if you've had a long travel day. This is a lot more like a massage. It's much deeper. It's great for releasing the knots in your muscles. It's pretty cruel in the sense where it does loosen up the muscles, but it can be pretty painful if you really start digging in there, but it is exactly what you want. It's far more power than I've ever needed, so I don't think that's ever going to be a problem with you. If you need more power than this, you're not even going to get that on a foam roller rolling around on a lacrosse ball, so I would highly recommend it. The battery lasts roughly 2 hours. It obviously will change depending on the settings you use, but it's roughly about 2 hours that the battery will last. That's the Hypervolt Plus.